Tommy?
Okay.
Recording now.
All right, that was good. Yes, okay. How you guys doing? Hello.
Good. Hi.
Good.
The screen actually was lagging a bit, so
It's fine.
Oh no.
So do you guys have any questions for me about Amico? Because I got some questions for you, but go ahead.
So question.
One at a time.
Can the Amico be rainbow?
We got
Rainbow color. That's a good idea. I think we should have you help us design that for us. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Why not have a rainbow one?
You need
one
the
at
color
a time.
of the rainbow spray paint, and then you dip it in water.
Right.
He's talking
Okay,
about hydro.
so
What are you playing a game right now?
This is my third
What-
question.
What game are you playing right now?
What game?
Why doesn't Amico come in green?
Green?
who wants it green?
Maybe there's going to be a green one.
Kawasaki green,
Kawasaki green.
but I'm biased.
I don't like the color green.
Any other questions for him?
Fourth question.
Fourth question.
What games you playing? I want to know. What games
What
you
was his
playing?
name?
Poly Island.
It's Poly Island.
Folly Island.
Ollie Island.
I think
Poly
Poly
Island.
Island.
I have a
It's an art program. It's like paint by number, and everything's done in triangle polygons, and you basically drop the different pieces into place.
That would be a perfect game for the.
I don't know if you can see. Can
Well,
you
I don't see your family playing together though. I just see him focused on that thing. See, you have to have games for everybody. There you go.
Honey, I can't get my family to do anything together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll help.
Like, focused on one thing, and then like 5 seconds later, he's focused on another thing, and then 5 seconds later, another
The
thing.
point is you're still not playing together, right?
So let me ask you questions then. We'll start with the oldest.
Yeah.
So what do you like about Amico so far that you've seen?
Wait, what was that?
He wants to know what you like about the Amico so far.
I like all of it.
Hi, this is
The thing that I like about the Amico is all the games I like, the games that are on it, and what colors it comes in. But we're getting the Founders Edition, so it's gonna be just plain wood color.
Okay, well maybe for your birthday, you can get a pink or a rainbow one or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what
My birthday's like next year in April.
Did you know
Okay,
that
what-
today's Tom's birthday?
What about what are your favorite games that you've seen so far? Because obviously you haven't played any of them yet, but when you see them visually, what are some of the ones that you liked?
I like
I wanna
the
go
Evil
look
Knievel and the
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go.
Side Swiper.
Go ahead. Go.
Evil
I like
Knievel
it.
and the Sideswiper.
My two most
Guys,
favorite.
What about the Cloudy Mountain one?
I want to get chip.
I
love
like the-
Cloudy Mountain.
I like the idea of Cloudy Mountain.
Okay, cool. So Evil Knievel and
Cloudy Mountain's sort of like the game Daddy made up. It's like this game where
We're
you
not talking
sneak
about
around like
that.
cool.
So, what do you think about Shark?
I like Shark too.
Let me ask you this: is there any games that you saw on there that you didn't like, that you thought like, that sucks?
I haven't seen any games that I didn't like.
Cool. And what do you think of the graphics of all the games? Do you like the graphics, or are you like, this doesn't look as good as an Xbox?
I think the graphics are like old school, like back in the days. Like,
Do you like them?
yes.
Girl, what do you know about back in the day?
Back in the day, 2016.
Yeah,
Back in the day.
Yeah, like,
And what was that? Sorry.
like, it was like
Back in the day means what to you?
a while, like a long time ago. They were like pixelated 2D. They weren't like graphics like 3D.
You like the retro look, the more simple look. Yeah. Cool. How about this guy? Beast mode on.
He's talking to you.
Beast
Can we
mode
have this
on?
for just a moment?
That's what his shirt says. Beast mode on.
That's right.
Yeah, it
It's
says
okay.
beast mode on.
You can play as soon as you turn the volume down. Now, can you listen to Tommy?
Welcome to the 21st century. How you doing?
How you doing? You're good.
He
So-
loves
How are you doing? You're good.
So tell me, what's your favorite game that you've seen so far on Amico?
Me?
you-
Yeah.
All of them.
Okay. And
I
why?
wish-
Why all of them? What do you like?
I really want a Galaxy Purple one.
There's a galaxy.
All right, so why do you like all the games?
Because they're also fun. I just don't like Evil Knievel. I never rided a motorcycle before.
Oh, I think you're gonna like that
Mommy's
one.
gonna take me on a ride eventually.
That's right. Your mom has a motorcycle, huh?
Yeah, so I can give you street cred in third grade.
Okay.
There you go.
No one
Wait,
ever third grade.
So let me ask you a question. Is your mom the coolest one in the family or what? She's way cooler than your dad, isn't she? She rides a bike. Like a
You can answer that
straight on
question.
Kawasaki street.
Okay. By show of hands, who thinks mommy's cooler than me?
Oh, and we can't see mommy's hand, but she's
Her
off
hand is
screen
up.
with her hand raised as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mommy has a ninja. She has a ninja.
Is that her? She's got a Kawasaki Ninja?
Yep. It's,
She's way cooler than dad.
Yep, way cooler than that. That's why I married her.
That's right. Now, do you play video games with your mom and dad?
Well, not very often because they have to
Not
do
very
stuff.
Okay, we'll see. Once Amico hits the household, you'll be able to play a lot more.
I have a fourth question and a fifth question that I
Please.
didn't ask.
Tell me. I answer everything.
Why don't they come in so many colors?
Say again.
Why don't they come in so many colors?
Yeah.
We got 5. We got 5 different colors.
Okay, so how many colors do you think it should come in?
Yeah.
A what?
He can't. Speak
Okay, so what's your fifth question? Because he's got questions for you.
My fifth question is that why the hat's on a lot.
What?
He wants to know why you
Money.
wear your hat a lot.
I'll tell you exactly why. It's a great question. They're one of the best questions anyone's asked in like the last couple of weeks. The reason I wear a hat a lot is because this whole because my local barber shop has been shut down because of the whole COVID thing. So if I took my hat off, my hair would go like this, poof. Just like that. So I have to keep it down so that I can't show my my big old fro. Boom! It's crazy.
It'd be funny to see a video of your hair going.
It would be just like that. It would literally be boom, just like a cartoon.
Okay. So can you think of anything else? Because he's got some questions for you.
No.
No? Okay. Good for your
Okay.
sir.
So the question is, what's your favorite color of all the machines that you've seen that we do have? I know we don't have a green one for you, but out of the ones
Your favorite out of the 5?
No.
No, you like the 5?
purple, red,
Like the
black,
one-
white, which one?
He likes them all.
He likes the orange one.
There's no orange one. That's not
None.
fair.
Orange one?
And
Sit down.
Mom's saying there will be an orange Miko.
Well, hopefully we'll do one for a Halloween edition.
Orange console, green controllers. It would look like a pumpkin.
Right.
Okay,
The Green
that's enough.
Goblin.
A Halloween Amico.
This is his time, okay? Look at the fairing, all right?
Tommy,
Did
I
you
like
guys-
the fact that your door is like almost like a pentagon shape.
Yeah, she likes that shape back there.
Yes.
That's a really cool
As
door.
long
We
as you
don't-
didn't say a pentagram shape, then we'd be in trouble. But yes, a pentagon, yes.
What?
That one's above your head, sweetie. Don't worry about it.
So the house immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, sell the house, yes.
I don't want to sit down.
So are you sure you don't have one specific one you like above all the other colors?
I'm sure.
You're sure? He says all 5 of them
All
are.
right.
You
That's
sure?
good then. We're good.
Any other questions?
There's one more.
You want?
How was your day?
Fantastic. It's been very busy. I've been up, I think, since about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
You said three. You said three something.
3 to
3, yeah. It was 3,
He's very
3:30.
literal.
Yes, no, 3:30, and we started doing a lot of design meetings with our game developers who are over in Europe. So like it's nighttime there right now for them, and they're all sleeping now, so we have to get up on different schedules and stuff. So
It's really good that you guys are like still pushing forward even though COVID's going on. And
It's impressive.
yeah, we're still we're trying our hardest to get the machine out on 10/10, and hopefully that'll happen.
All right, go.
I
Go give you a hug.
like the
Go ahead.
idea of the amigo though.
Thank you. I can't wait for you to play it.
Oh, they all want to hug mommy now.
The coolest one.
All right. Okay, so you guys have a few more minutes, and then I'm going to talk with Mr. Tommy, okay?
I like this room. It's so super clean.
Yeah.
If I turn the camera down, it wouldn't be. The floor is kind of messy, but no.
It's the same here. Don't let them fool you.
The walls are very clean.
So
It looks like you
he's
just
asked you about console colors, the games on them, what you think about the graphics and so forth. What do you think about the controller? Do you think the controller is going to be difficult for you?
Yeah, look at this. Look what I got.
What's that?
the controller.
Lights up. See that?
Yeah. And then the Amico television controller.
Yeah.
I have a question. If the controllers are ready and wait, did you guys test the system already?
We're testing it now. It takes about 2 months to do all the hardware testing. So we're trying now. We're
But if it works, why don't you just put it on sale when it works?
well, because that's the thing is that you have to make them, right? So even when it gets all tested and we're ready to go, then we have to make them all, and it takes 1 month just to make like 35,000 of them. It takes 1 month, and then you have to, and then you have to put them in a big container, and then that container goes on a boat, and then from China. And it has to go all the way here, and that takes even 1 month. So, yeah, it's crazy how long some of this stuff takes.
Where do you live?
California. Where do you live?
North Carolina.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. I'm sorry. We used to live in North Carolina.
My brother lives in North Carolina.
You were born in North Carolina.
Yep, they're all from North Carolina, but Mrs. TwoTales' mother lives up here, so we're up here to help out.
Got it.
Our Mimo was already
All right,
here.
you guys have 4 minutes. Any other questions for Mr. Tommy?
No. Yeah, I have one. So if
Yes.
you need a tester to test the system, I'm more than happy to help you test that. You know, just send me like the Galaxy one, and I am more than happy. And especially since I'm a graphics snob, you know.
Well, I understand that you're the actual gamer in the family, the hardcore gamer.
Hey, I
Yeah.
play games all the time.
You play more than your mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
She plays simple games. I play complicated games.
Now I just want to play with you.
So let me ask you then, what do you prefer, the Xbox over the PlayStation or PC? What kind of game are you?
Well, that's hard to say because it really depends. Like, because I use the PC when it comes to mods, you know, for games that I want to mod. So if I want to mod like Skyrim or Arkham Knight, things like that, you know, Resident Evil, I of course buy it on for the computer. But if I'm lazy, then I get it on Xbox, and if I'm really, really lazy, then I get it on the PlayStation.
Now,
But not so much anymore.
do you guys have a Switch as well?
Yeah.
Yes!
I bought it for me, but you know.
We have a lot of game systems. We have a tablet. We have a 3DS system.
I'm
an
playing it
Xbox
right now.
PlayStation.
You too?
And a tablet.
You too.
Yeah, and a tablet. I swear we have everything in this house.
We have phones.
Except for the Wi-Fi.
So how
thing.
about this? Since it's
Now, so as a hardcore gamer who like mods stuff on PC, who has a Switch, who has an Xbox, PlayStation, what attracts you to Intellivision Amico? Seeming you play and know all of them, what would you say are some of the unique things that you like about this system?
I like that they're simple and that you can get, you know, a lot of fun out of something that can be really quick because
Don't touch.
games anymore, you know, everything's long haul and it takes time.
Right.
you know, and it's like if you go through one chapter, you're there an hour and a half. Goodness forbid you stop to pick up any collectibles. You know, and I like being able to spend, you know, 5, 10, 20 minutes doing something simple versus, no, I can't. There's no room over there. My big fat blanket's in the way, you know, versus something, you know, long and complicated. But I like also that I'm not going to have to worry about like advertisements and Bayonetta popping up because I hate her and I want to punch her in her stupid ugly face.
Okay, well there you go.
Bayonetta, I don't like her. But the whole thing with the Switch, with a lot of the stuff that they're putting on there, you know, it really concerns me as a parent because before it was super simple, you know, oh, you don't have to worry about an advertisement on the Switch, and you know, nowadays it's, you know, I have to watch everything that they do on a tablet because it's like a kid's game on the tablet had a lot of adult content in it that really? I was hysterical. Not like in tears. I was so angry that I thought that I was pretty much going to snap the thing in half from what I actually saw. It was, I can't even. I was so angry. And it was a kid's game.
Wow.
So angry with the advertisement that had come up. And I like that, you know, you're not going to have to worry about that with the Amico. You know,
yeah,
like,
it's
fine.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because a lot of times people will, you know, some, you know, folks, their counter to that is like, well, you should just let parents parent and you shouldn't restrict. And my whole thing has always been, yeah, but if it's one less thing they have to worry about, yes, parents should parent. I agree with that too. But if you don't even have to consider it, so let me ask you as a mother of 3, well, maybe 4 if you include the guy next to you. But but tell me, you know, as a parent, would you prefer something that had those kind of restrictions or that didn't? You know, I'd be curious to hear your.
I really would. I would prefer it that I could say, you know, no, you guys, you go play, you know, the Amico, for instance, and I don't have to worry about it because we are supposed to parent, you know, we're supposed to watch what they're doing, but at the same time, I shouldn't have to stand over them every 5 seconds and check every second what they're doing. That's just irresponsible, and I don't think that the parental controls are set up in such a way, especially on like the Switch, where you can really say, no, 100% you can't do this, because then you can't play half the games on the Switch. Like Minecraft, you could
that's the other counter that people will sometimes say. They say, well, you just set up the parental controls then.
It really isn't.
Well, but and to me, when I look at the parental controls, no matter what machine it is, especially the Switch, they're very it's complex to do. You have to set up an account, then you get an email, then you go on to this and to that, and boom, boom, boom. And like you said, if you have different accounts that you're going to need to set up. If you want to play adult game, but you don't want the kids to, and then what mode did I leave it in before I left? Do I have to log out? So I don't know. But again, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on that. Well, is it just as easy as just parental controls? Because it's not.
They don't mean anything, because I put to stop my kids from watching YouTube because they're watching a channel called Unspeakable. And no hate to the guy, but as a 32-year-old woman, his voice annoys me.
Okay.
To no end, and I don't like how immature he is as an adult. And I put on a app to block YouTube, Twitter, and somebody within a day had it deleted off. She straight up deleted it.
And then she
went right back on, you know.
And she actually managed to then put all the old things we removed back onto the tablet. You know, so
putting parental controls on doesn't mean squat, because my kids are like a hawk. They know everybody's password, and no matter how many times you change it, they're like popping up behind couches and under blankets and behind walls just to see you put it into the, whatever it is you're putting it in.
Our children, for all their positives and minuses, they're problem solvers, and if they want something together or individually, they'll figure out how to get it. And that's what we learned about the tablet. The security on that tablet.
They're like the epitome of the Rugrats.
It's not enough, right?
The second time they downloaded it, they said, if you delete it, you're grounded from the tablet permanently.
For life. I'll make sure.
See, now that's parents parenting right there.
Actually had to talk about the safety, because we were talking about the flack the Amico was getting and how parents need to do their job. And we both agree that choosing the Amico is a choice for safety for the kids. because there's a guarantee coming from you and the company, and we're putting that trust, and that brings value, in my opinion. But so yeah.
Tommy, I got a question for you.
Yes, I have an answer for you. I hope.
Do you like blueberries?
Yeah, they're not my favorite fruit. I mean, I'm more of a strawberry guy. I like bananas. Give me a lot of bananas are very high in potassium and.
I like bananas. I like bananas, but I just won't eat them anymore. When I first started bananas.
I'm more if I had a raspberry or a blueberry in front of me, I'd probably go for the raspberry. But if we're talking pie, blueberry is going to beat strawberry and raspberry every day of the week. Won't beat lemon meringue. But, you know. And
it's my birthday today.
Yeah, I'm old today.
Wait, it's your birthday today?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my God, happy birthday. It's my wife's father's birthday today as well.
She's got a twin.
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, what a day it is today, too. I had appointments and everything else today, and my worms are all escaping. And
Silkworms. She farms silkworms. Let's be clear about that.
yeah, it's silkworms. I spin fiber into yarn, and my silkworms are making a break for it. They're everywhere, all over the wall over there. Everybody's trying to cocoon, so yeah, they're everywhere. Sorry. So what are your questions?
Well, he was talking with you, so. And I don't think I haven't had a chance to post the video. I got Chris to do some commentary in regards to the answers to the 10 questions that I gave you.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't got that posted just yet, but
all right.
Is there anything comes to mind other than the Raptors and the autograph?
Yeah. So when are we shipping them to my house?
Oh, you like the raptor, the Velociraptor in the backyard?
What did I name them? George and Fred?
Yes.
George and Fred? Yeah.
Yes, George and Fred. Okay. I haven't named them at all, so I mean, I guess I'll start calling them that now.
George and Fred, yeah. It fits, very vicious names. Very, very scary.
Yes.
George, get out.
Anyway, I put my cell phone down somewhere, but no, I did put together a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, shoot them over.
Perfect. All right. Well, so the first question, I like to kind of look at the history and like the heart of things. So yeah. You've said it a couple of times that there's a big hole in the industry. When was it that you first realized that the industry was not meeting the needs of all the potential gamers out there? When did you notice the hole in the industry?
That's a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. I would say it was around the time.
Sure.
Alex, come here, honey.
I'd say probably about 4 years ago. I mean, when you're in the industry, as with any of, like your job, I'm sure is the same thing. Whatever your job is, you're probably looking at going and saying like, man, if the industry did this, it would be so much better. Or if our company did this, it would be so much better. Like, you always have these, and so in the games industry, it's like, like I was playing mobile games and I was always feeling like they were trying to suck money out of me.
Right. They still do.
Right. I would play, all these like new big AAA games. And I was just like frustrated with like the controls and I had to memorize them. And then you have to put in 50 hours just to play a game, and so it's like the amount of like just thinking about that made me like depressed, so so I'd say about 4 years ago, but really over the last 20 years, you always see like, oh gosh, why don't they do it like this, or why don't they do it like that? And gosh, I feel like all these game publishers are just kind of redoing the same thing over and over. Right. Or I look at PlayStation and Microsoft, which are amazing, awesome companies. I love them both. But they really don't innovate too much. Like their controller's been the same for like 20 years. And now you look at Nintendo and they're actually kind of the opposite of that. And I love them as well, but they're more of the innovators when it comes to hardware, right? You look at the Wii and then the Wii U and then the Switch and the DS and the 3DS, Game Boy. So, so yeah, it was you look at the Sony and the Microsofts, and you say, from a hardware standpoint, yes, things are bigger, quicker, stronger, faster. But yeah, okay. So you have the PlayStation has those little glowy wand things, and the Xbox has the motion control, or the not the motion control, the camera.
Right.
Gosh, it's escaping my mind right now. What it's called? What was called the what was it called? The Xbox. Where that
the Xbox one, the PlayStation Move.
The Move. That was
system.
The Move. But what was the?
It was the Kinect.
Kinect, that's it. Thank you, Kinect. I couldn't remember the name of it for some reason.
I go to her for my gaming information.
So I mean, so we just wanted to do something that was so different and so unique, and so all these things just keep building up and building up and building up. And so instead of just complaining about them all the time, well, why don't we actually do the hardest thing in the world and do something about it, and try to disrupt our little part of the industry here. And we see this gaping hole, and let's build a truck to drive through it.
I like it.
So in the same vein of where did this come from? You got a chance to be on the Completely Necessary podcast last night.
Yes.
You were showing some of the diagrams of the original concepts. Yeah. So when in your mind did the Amico become the Amico?
Hi, Tommy.
Hello.
Well,
so Keith Robinson, who was the former president of Intellivision, and who none of us would even be knowing each other or talking to each other if not for him keeping the name alive for 20 years. He approached me. We were talking at a game convention, and he was talking about having me be involved with Intellivision because he knew how passionate I was about it. And that's when I told him, I said, and I was kind of only half joking, but I was kind of joking in that I said, well, look, what we really should do is just create a new Intellivision, like a whole new console. And he says, that would be something you'd have to do, Tommy, because he knew I had a lot of contacts and I could raise money and I was good at marketing and all that stuff. So, so we started talking about that opportunity, and we'd see each other. And that was, I'd say, going back 5 years ago. We talked about it for basically a year and a half, 2 years. Every time we'd get together, or he'd come over my house for my birthday or something, party, or we'd see each other at a convention, and we'd always, oh man, we got to do this. But I was always on tour with Video Games Live, and he was always doing something. So we never really, brainstormed about it. Then when he passed away suddenly a couple years ago, that's when we, that's when I kind of sat down and I called the other folks who were running the company with them, and I said, "What are you guys going to do with the company?" Like I was concerned for the brand Intellivision. I'm like, "What are you guys going to do?" And they're like, "We don't know. We don't really know, and no one can really run this full time, so we're kind of unsure." And that's when it when it said, "You know what?" And we went to Keith's funeral, or as I like to call it, life celebration, because it was really more of a life celebration and a party, as he would have wanted it, because he was such a great, fun guy. And it was there that I kind of approached everyone. I said, hey, look, I have this idea. I have this concept. You might have known, and a few of them knew that Keith was already talking to me. I said, look, why don't you guys come over, guys and girls, come over my house, and I want to pitch you on something. And at that point, I probably had, from the time Keith passed away till 3 or 4 days later, after that, that phone call, and then seeing everyone a week later or whatever, I probably had 90% of the entire console already worked out in my head. So what you're getting, the final product, is actually, pretty much what I had put down on paper and in my head, from the time Keith passed away till his life celebration. So yeah, that's kind of how it all came to be.
That's cool. Okay, so I'm looking at the time, so I'm not sure if we'll get to everything that I had written down because I had a lot for Cloudy Mountain. But I do have one question that's important to me because there's small details that stick with me.
Okay.
And the fact that the console has a light bar, which integrates it with the actual gaming experience, you don't see that anywhere else. Where did that idea come from?
From my video games live concerts, like when you put an orchestra on a stage and you just turn you turn just regular lights on, like any symphony, most symphony concerts you go to, the lighting is just very, it's plain, right? And you hear the orchestra and that's it. But with video games live, I wanted rock and roll lighting and lasers and video screens, and it heightens the experience so much. And just again, the lighting, when you think about watching a video games live show, boom, 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 you see our trailers and how exciting it is, and then just watch a normal symphony show. And from a visual standpoint, like our generation, like we grew up on rock and roll and rock concerts and MTV and video games and now social media, and we're very visual people, Generation X and lower. So millennials, Generation X, we're all very visceral people, right? We expect a certain, type of visual and with our entertainment now. And so that was something that I wanted to bring, all of the things that I learned from video games live. Boy, there's a big difference between just watching a symphony on stage with no lights and watching it with lights. So, and again, not to say that we're going to like create these little rock concerts for the games, but that's where the idea came from. The idea of how can we make this different? And then once you start to think about it and how it integrates in the controller and how it integrates into the base, well, now from a design standpoint, you start coming up with all these amazing new ideas that no one's ever done before, right? And so that's where but it originated from video games live and 20 years of touring my show all over the place.
I like that one. No, it stands out to me as one of the most unique things for the Amico. First, I'm a sucker for how everything lights up, but even myself looking at it, I'm like, it could be the red, yellow, green of a light for a race car game.
That's right.
If you're playing a stealth game, it could be the level of alertness of what's going on in the system. It's the color for the player with the high score. There's so many things you could do that just makes the system play.
The police are chasing you. It's going red, blue, red, blue. If the alarm goes off, then it's spinning red. Or if you try to open a door, it's a game like Simon, where it's like the combination of the door isn't numbers or up, down, left, right. It's actually like, can you hit the colors on the thing? Or if you're playing a game like Safecrack or a Bomb Squad, where you need to cut the red wires and not the blue and stay away from the green, and you had to do it as a family, and different lights on the controller. Like you had a blue wire here, and your wife had a blue wire here, and your kids had a blue wire here, and then you all have to hit the right color all at the same time in order to clip the wire to diffuse the bomb or whatever. So yeah, when you start to think about all the unique ways it can be used in gameplay, that's the real exciting thing,
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the few things I've been championing in the last couple of videos I did, is that you don't see the console playing with you anywhere else.
Exactly. It's so hard for me to show a trailer of just gameplay footage because every single game we have uses the controller or co-op in a completely new and unique way. And so just showing gameplay trailer and you put it out there, and you can see where some folks are just like, oh, these just look like mobile games. I can play these on anything. And it's like, well, no, you can't. But it's hard to show that when you can just show gameplay footage.
Okay.
Which is why we started making those videos of everybody in a room together playing and me describing, like Sideswipers and Missile Command. Unfortunately, COVID then hits, and now we can't have 4 people in a room together to explain that, right?
No, I get it. I like. The more I learn about the system, the more the uniqueness actually stands out.
Yeah.
Believe me, it's all he talks about.
Oh, no.
He sounds like me when it comes to my bike. I talk about my bike like 24/7. I'm always making motorcycle jokes.
Like the cop car light, red, blue, give me
He's gonna
PTSD.
get PTSD.
I was like, yeah, because
I've seen enough lights.
you've seen enough lights.
That's funny. How many tickets have you gotten on your bike?
So far.
Oh, you talk your way out of them?
Catch me. Come on now.
No,
I was going to say, you either talk your way out of them or you outrun them.
she has this one story. I probably shouldn't say this online, but this was back in like North Carolina, and she was zipping up a back road and blew right past a cop on the side of the road.
Keep going.
There was a housing area.
Play dumb.
Right? And so the cop starts trying to track her down, and she gets on the side of this oversized pickup truck and starts walking along the pickup truck, keeping the truck between her and the cop car.
Oh, so she couldn't see him.
Yeah.
And then this way, and he knew I was there somewhere, and he kept trying to go around, and I would slow down, and I'd pull up, and I'd slow down, I'd pull up around this truck, and eventually the guy's just like, "What are you doing?" But I still got away with no tickets.
I'm just going to keep my mouth shut right now because I could get myself in a world of trouble. But let's just say that been there, done that. I'll just leave it at that.
So actually,
Let's just say that been there, done that. I'll just leave it at that.
So actually, I have a question unrelated to the Amico. So you mentioned you had that metallic orange Mustang Fastback, the
2+2 Fastback.
Yes.
Car from Bullet. Yeah.
What happened to that?
I ended up selling it. It kills me to say that because I wish I would have kept that one. Because I do think about it a lot, and it was this really beautiful, like deep metallic orange too. And I had it jacked up on the back. I had the Krager rims, the dual glass packs on the. I mean, it roared. And then I had it was black interior, but then I put a GPS. And this is back when nobody had like monitors in their screens. So this is going back 22 years ago. And so I had a Garmin mounted into the dashboard. I had like a $4,000 stereo system in it. So I took the classic car and just made it like modern and really beefed up. But the thing about cars from the 60s is a lot of people don't realize, especially like myself, I'm a big Italian sports car guy. So when you drive like a modern Ferrari and then try to go back to a car from the 60s, whether it's a Corvette or whatever it is, Mustang, the steering, like those cars steered like trucks. So I was like, whoa, I'm driving and you could try to tighten it up, and I put a smaller steering wheel on it, did everything I could, but they are, when you're driving like a, $350,000 race car and then try to drive a $10,000 Mustang from the 60s, there is a big difference. And so, but that being said, you get used to it anyway. But and I'll tell you part of the reason I sold it is because, so again, I have a bit of a Ferrari habit, right? And my thing is that I've never ever sold a Ferrari. so I buy the cars, but I don't sell them because I hold on to them. So it got to a point where if I wanted to like take a certain car and I wanted to leave, it literally would take me 20 minutes to pull all the cars out and then bring the one out that I want and then pull all the cars back in. So I just got rid of everything. I had like Lamborghinis, Porsches, Ferraris, Mustangs. I had a Mach 1, a 69 Mach 1 Mustang, if you remember, Eleanor from the movie, right? And that was a show car. I didn't mess with that at all. That was all original, stunning, beautiful car. So I had one that was like the classic Mustang muscle car, and then the one that I just tricked out like crazy. But I always think of that orange 2+2 fastback. In fact, I was just up at the Monterey Car Show last August, and they had the actual car from Bullitt there, the hunter green, classic Steve McQueen. And I was looking at the thing going, I should have never got rid of that orange car. I loved it so much. And because it's your baby, right? And I redid certain parts, and I bought a part on eBay, and I replaced like little stupid things. I redid the chrome. It was so anyway, yeah, that's a bit of a sore spot for me. But someday, maybe when I have time, I'll recreate that car from the ground up.
I talked to my motorcycle. It's okay. I named him Jack. Unoriginal, I know. Jack.
Is that like Jack Sparrow? Is that like a thing for Johnny Depp?
No, like a Jack Lantern, like a pumpkin.
Like
I got it in about October 31st, and I've been slowly working on him, blacking as much out as I can, so I have mostly black with the hints of the candy burnt orange. I got nice little spikes on the front. I better not.
Look, my first car was a 1970 Maverick, but it was metallic blue with the black racing hood scoop.
I had a Maverick. I totally had a Maverick. I love that car. It was mine was a blue. It wasn't metallic, but it was like a kind of a darker blue. Not super dark, but I loved my Maverick. I beat the shit out of that thing, and I was in. I grew up in Massachusetts. I think I bought the thing for like $500. It was probably like 1986 or 87. Just graduated from high school, and I couldn't afford like a real car. But that Maverick was, and again, in Massachusetts, it snows half the year. So the trunk was like rusted out. It had holes in it, and I had to get the car. What do you have to get it like not smogged, but you have to get it. What's that? Inspected. Yeah. Sorry. We don't have that out in California. We have smog checks, but we don't have
smog here.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. And so it had to get inspected, and I remember it failed inspecting because it had holes in the trunk. So I'm like, son of a bitch. So me and my buddy, we had to we black duct tape underneath and around the thing. Then put a cover over it, like it was a fake card, because we didn't want to get it fixed. How do you get it fixed? And then we put fake carpeting over it, black carpeting, and then we loaded up the whole trunk with a bunch of like boxes and crap. And so when we went to get it inspected again, they kind of like, the guy opened the trunk and was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like they didn't even check, So, but yeah, I love that Maverick. Shitty brakes on mine. I remember like we'd be like, because we'd do stupid stuff when I was young, and we would like, we would do jumps over at ditches and stuff, and I can remember like just slamming on the brakes, and the thing would just start to go into a power slide. So but that's how we learned to drive back then, like on the ice. If you've never driven on ice, like these people in California, it rains and people like panic. Hell! It's like I grew up driving on ice. You don't know fear. Right? You don't know fear until you're like trying to go up or down a very steep hill on ice with your car, right? That's pure terror.
Yeah, it is.
You don't know pure terror when you're going straight uphill in an 88 Mustang, and it's literally like an angle like this in the middle of winter and the entire road is ice, and you happen to know that car is rear-wheel drive. If you didn't make it up that hill, you were forced into a nice little U-turn down the hill and then back that way.
I don't want to fight.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to feel it out, It, like when I, because I do a lot of I'll do go-karting, but also like real race car driving as well. And the reality is, you don't know how far your car can be pushed until you lose the back end. You know, like when you're going around turns, you have to know. Say, let's take it simple, like in go-karting. Until you've spun out, you don't know how far you can take it to the limit. And so, and that's really the difference between great race car drivers and, you know, legends as opposed to great race car drivers, is the ones who are always know they ride it right on the edge. Ayrton Senna was one of the greatest Formula One drivers of all time. And you watch his videos, whether he's driving in Monaco, Brazil, wherever, and he's always, it's just on the line of you know, and sometimes unfortunately it was crossed, but he was one of the greats because of that, you know.
You guys should watch the Isle of Man races. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but the Isle of Man races.
I'm not familiar with that, no.
Is
this motorcycle thing?
Races over in England, and it's done through like a housing residential area, and then there's long stretches of the road. It claims lives every year because it's high speeds, as fast and as hard as you can go, you know, and it's I mean, it's violent, but it's amazing to watch.
Now, do you ever watch the motorcycle, like the motocross stuff? Or like,
I do watch motocross sometimes.
The Italians dominate.
Yeah, they really do that. They really do that. I don't watch them too much because I'm not allowed to watch sports, like especially soccer. I get violent. I get very.
There you go.
I'm going to cut in real quick because it's about 5, so I know you're going to have to get going. So just one last question because we didn't get to the Cloudy Mountain. So it's one right in your ballpark. Okay. So I looked up some of the old gameplay. Sound was very important, and the bats would mask the monster sounds and so forth. What can you tell us about the sound work for your new work on it? For
Cloudy Mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. So I in fact, just this weekend, I was working on all of the different sounds, like when you go into like caves or castles and, you know, different dungeons and things like that. So, you know, having these, you know, really, some are like super creepy, some you can like hear dripping, some are just like this hollow wind. So just really coming up with different environmental sounds that, because I want to make sure that, even because in Cloudy Mountain there's a lot of like going in and it's all like generated stuff. So you can go back into the same place and it'll all be different every time. Like it creates the maps for you on the fly, right? And so a lot of times when you're doing that kind of, you know, generative stuff, you don't want it to ever seem like, oh, I've seen that, you know, if you have 100 caves, you don't want them to all sound the same. Some of them might look visually the same because you're using the same tiles for the floor, the same torch on the wall or whatever. So by changing the sounds and randomizing those sounds, it gives the gameplay a feeling like of unrepetitiveness. And that's really my goal in why I've taken so much time to ensure that a game doesn't feel repetitive, even though some of the visuals, if you've played it a long time, may. But, you know, so that's one of the big things. And then the magic sounds, I haven't even started working on yet, but there's going to be there's some stuff in the game. In fact, after you stop recording, I'll share my screen with you and show you a bit of the game. You'd be the first person in the world outside of Intellivision to see this, and you can hear some of the stuff. So, yeah.
That'd be awesome. Do you have time for a few more questions, or?
Yeah, give me one or two more quick ones. Yeah, I'll try to be quick. I'm the one who talks long. Not you.
Easy one. I found out there were blobs in the original Cloudy Mountain, and they were indestructible. Are they still indestructible? Do they still exist?
They definitely still exist, and there are going to be things that are indestructible. So yes.
Now, and one last question. I was reviewing Pete's videos and stuff for Cloudy Mountain, and I noticed on this map there was a chain of 3 mountains that were in like this L shape, and there was a lake, and it was surrounded by mountains, and it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. So I'm like, are there Easter egg locations, like surprise locations Okay, I think those are quick and easy. We can stop there.
Now, if you turn recording off, I will show you some of the game. But thank you for having me.